Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Today we have a guest from a bit further upfield, where we can go anywhere remotely, but in terms of being in the studio, we're delighted to have Barrister Uchenna Orji in the studio this morning. In a sense, you can say all the way from Ebonyi State.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for coming on. Commissioner for Information and Orientation in Ebonyi State. Now, when it comes to Ebonyi State matters, nobody can say Barrister Uchenna Orji doesn't know about Ebonyi State. Having been former Chief Whip in the Ebonyi State House of Assembly, former Commissioner for Agriculture, former Commissioner for Human Capital Development at various times, and former presidential nominee representing West African Examinations Council International. Apart from that last one, which gives an international dimension to things, quite frankly, all the others are at home, and it would appear to me that you've concentrated most of your public life in your home state.
Yeah, well, thank God for everything. I can say that I'm very much privileged to be in the administration of His Excellency Engineer Chief David Umezumai, Commissioner for 3 ministries within a period of 6 years. It's really revealing and it's experience-packed.
Indeed. We won't go into why within one administration, 3 major ministries. We'll just leave it as it is, because I wanted to spend the time otherwise on the fact that, hey, you're from Ebonyi State. That's one of the 5 in the southeast. And as nobody needs to tell you, that is what is trending now. The Southeast Security Organization that is proposed by the governors, that has been mentioned and will come into fruition. I wanted to ask you, continue a trend that we've had on the program, which is, as soon as the announcement was made and we looked at the story, there was a lot of commendation, you know, for the idea. A lot of people saying that it's too late. We wanted it day before yesterday, but okay, thank God that we have it now. Then there is another set of people who are saying that, can they really agree among themselves? And on the basis of that, are making perhaps not the most encouraging of comments. You probably might have heard some of them.
Yeah, let me mention that the governors of Southeast, 5 of them, are strong under one leadership. That is the Governors Forum, very ably led by my boss, the governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency Engineer Chief David Umezumai. They have been working together in all of these things to ensure that they tackle issues of security in parts of Southeast. It didn't start from now, it started from the beginning. And you'll recall that each of the states have their own individual local vigilante policing their various communities in liaison with the conventional security. So it's not like a surprising thing that on the 11th of April, they came to pronounce the issue of Ebubago. Ebubago is just a common name which they eventually did adopt. They had individual names for the local vigilante. So they had to adopt Ebubago, the glory of a tiger. I would always say that the majesty of an empire is the safety of its protection. We are looking at the social and economic implication of Ebubago. Social implication means that they would require to get the vigilante under this Ebubago to police our communities, to bring about social decorum, to bring about harmony among inhabitants and even between inhabitants. I mean, natives and non-natives living, doing their businesses in the various states. Again, economic principles in the sense that they are looking at our past glory of being not only a Republican zone, but also a zone that is known for entrepreneurship development, that people are very, very enterprising. So we need to look at those years where our youth women are engaged. So what can we do to better engage our youth to ensure that some of these vices are reduced to the barest minimum? So these are the issues or the concept that informed the Ebubago.
So you say, from what you said, they might have released it and it might appear to many to be a new movement, but you are saying that they have actually long been discussing this and cooperating amongst themselves with this. So therefore, those who say that had it not been for that tragic Owerri attack, this Ebubeagụ would not have come into fruition. So they are reacting now to what the citizenry of the Southeast have always been demanding, which is we need protection against banditry, criminality, and all of this.
Yeah, it must be noted that the issue of insecurity has been a national menace that has been trending all over the entire country. South is not an exception. And so the case of Imo State, or where as it were, shouldn't be an extraordinary issue that will warrant the sudden coming together of the governors as people are trying to suggest. I would say it's just part of the processes of getting together by the governors of Southeast, and of course to react to some of these unabated cases of violence and criminality. And they are looking at having a kind of synergy, a kind of collaboration and coordination that will make it possible for the vigilante in each of the localities to move to any part of the South to track or crack criminals. So there will be cooperation, so there won't be any hindrance.
That is with
Ebubeagụ, there won't be any
But I
hindrance.
thought you said that there had been similar, they just sort of formalized it. I thought you said there have been these interactions and cooperations.
Yes, but under this Ebubeagụ, there would be unfettered access by each of the jurisdictions to any part of any state, any part of the zone, to really track and crack down criminalities. There will be closer coordination. Of course, they said the coordinating point will be at the Southeast Zonal Headquarters, Enugu. And so what it means is that they will have commonality of law that will also permit them to move from one state to the other. So nobody will say, this is not your jurisdiction. So there are elements, ingredients that will further fortify the security, the local security outfits to ensure that they police the entire zone without any hindrance based on law, based on customs and all of that. So that is basically the difference.
Okay. Well, our program, Mr. Commissioner, is interactive, people calling from home. And in such a case, Kesandu has called in. Good morning, Kesandu.
I'm very grateful, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Calling
morning,
in from Imo State, right?
Yes, I'm calling from Owerri in Imo State.
Okay.
You see, we are an interested party. I'm an interested party in this whole thing. You see, remember vividly when Dissecting was formed, the governor of Ebonyi State, the Honorable Commissioner, told us that it was their brainchild. No doubt about that. And all these insecurities have been happening in this part of the country. And what we expected was these people to swing into action. They always meet. We don't even know what they discuss. And at this material time that it has not it has been happening in Ebonyi. It is a local government where I come from, them kidnapping, a whole lot of things are happening. We now saw the one that broke the attack on the correctional service. Now, sir, we all expect in Southeast that instead of coming to come and make such pronouncement, you should have gone to the drawing board. The 5 speakers of the Houses of Assembly should have come together. The Attorney General should have come together. As you are coming to make that pronouncement, we are coming with a law. You should have even gone to your brothers from the Southwest. You have even gotten a leaf from what I want to do.
Okay, Kesandu, thank you very much. Kesandu, I really do appreciate your calling in. We all do. Thank you very much. Let me take some of those issues up with the commissioner. Basically, Kesandu is not at all happy with the notion that you consulted widely enough on this matter. That seemed to be what I took out of his line of questioning, that how can you just come and tell us this thing and it's, half-baked? There still is the legal aspect. But first of all, that whole matter about, was there wide consultation? Because I have heard that as a critique, if not criticism.
Yeah, it would appear my friend does not have firm grips of the processes leading to the security summit they had in Imo State. I want to tell you that the commissioners for justice in each of the states of the Southeast, or the legislatures, that is the Houses of Assembly, have been part of this process of the security architecture that is being, concluded now.
Okay.
I can tell you that there is a deliberate plan to have each of the states have a law that is common to all the states, that is similar to all the states. The Attorney Generals are aware of that. So you need to know that it didn't start now. They even have a committee, security committee at the zonal level, that is its headquarters at Enugu, And they have been brainstorming, and this is that part of the result of all of those processes. Very soon you see a law made by each state that is similar in nature as far as security architecture of each state is concerned. And let me tell you, we have 6 geopolitical zones. And of course, Southwest is one of them that has a metricum. Now we are the second to have a common name. We have other 4 geopolitical zones. What is important is not even the form, it's not even the name, but the ability and the capacity to police the various communities, which the governors of Southeast are doing very well. I must say, without fear of equivocation, the Southeast is among the safest states, whether we like it or not, compared to other zones. Even Southwest, we can say that Southeast still remains the safest, save for some of these recent pockets of crimes, criminalities, and clashes that maybe, if investigations are made, maybe somehow politically motivated.
Okay, so it seems like you don't put much stock on the idea that there wasn't sufficiently wide consultation, because that seems to have been, at least to the extent that social media is useful. You know, just seeing the criticisms or critiques, if you want, on the idea when it first of all broke. In fact, I was a bit concerned myself, and I asked some Igbo-speaking friends of mine, why does there seem to be, at least on social media, much, derogatory comments on the whole idea, along the lines of, when did this one start? Who did you discuss this one with? And as you've said, any reasonable person will know that, of course, you're going to have to get the legal part to it down pat, which you said is being done. But how about the whole idea that is it your thinking that what kind of consultation are they talking about?
Yeah, I need to tell you, they anchor that the Southeast has an organization that they call Hanes and Tibo that have been part of the integral process of this security arrangement. And consultation requires leaders of the Southeast, which the governors have always done. They have always been in touch with the leaders, all the different classes and categories of people, the youth leadership, the women leadership, to see the way they can make their contribution towards having an effective security system. And that is what we are having now. That's why they suddenly came with this name, Ebubago, the glory of a tiger.
Okay. All right. I'll leave that for there. The other point that we have also engaged in discussion is all the while that those who have commented along those lines have been waiting for something like this to happen, there is something called, whether is it the Eastern Security Network, now, it's no doubt a child of an illegal or a proscribed organization. But I wanted to know, what will everything be on the table in terms of the formulation? Because it is thought that they are doing something, but I'll leave that to you to comment on whether indeed they are doing anything useful at all.
Well, SN for me is even a child of agitation. Is a child of an expression of marginalization, and criminal neglect on the side of government towards the Southeast. But I have to say that this neglect or marginalization did not start under this administration. For the 16-year rule of PDP at the center, that was where we had it worst, marginalization. And so we are not ruling out some of these emergencies, including ESN. But what is important is that we must know that in democracy we have one government at a time that has the legitimacy and has the mandate of the people. So no any other government organization in the Southeast has the mandate of the people except the governments, as elected by the people in each of the states. And the only way you can show lack of confidence is by voting them out when the time comes. So we are saying that yes, we have organizations that are agitating, for a lot of things that we are suffering. But we need to know that we must obey the authorities. Of course. And that is a singular appeal that governments are making to our youth and women.
And this is without prejudice to non-state actors, so-called, as
NGO, non-governmental organization. Yes.
Okay. Let me take Edwin. Edwin has called in from Switzerland. Good morning, Edwin.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Yes. I just wanted to contribute because I feel one of the biggest problems that we have is that
our traditional, infrastructures have been constantly, torn down. That's number one. And number two, we also have another problem with most of the governors and most of the governors and most of our government officials. They don't have they didn't understand the infrastructures, the security infrastructures that they have outside.
Okay.
Edwin,
thank you very much for calling in. The line was poor, but I did hear the word infrastructure in there. I did hear the word infrastructure in there, and so that seems to me that's what you wanted to talk about. And we were talking. We actually still have to, we actually still have to deal with social development and economic development in the place. But Edwin brought up the whole matter of infrastructure. Even though I didn't hear the question clearly, what would you make about the topic that he seemed to wanted to know something about the infrastructure?
I think it was talking about the role of infrastructure and stemming the issues of insecurity and social vices. And I want to give it to him that infrastructure, human capital development are the twin pillars of development that must be in place for us to really ensure that we reduce social vices, criminalities, and all aspects of agitations in the society. The people need good governance. And I can speak for my state at this point to say that our governor has done tremendously well. I call him a man of extraordinary ability. Within this period of 5 to 6 years, the governor has laid a foundation that is long-lasting. Today in Ebonyi State, we have the biggest shopping mall in Africa. Today in Ebonyi State, we have the biggest college of medicine in Africa. It has a center of excellence for treatment of liver problems, heart diseases, and cancer, and all of that. And it also has a center of excellence for the production of dialysis. Or dialyzer, sorry. And there's no other place you can find it in the whole of Africa. And so these are some of the legacies the governor has put in place to ensure that job is created for the people. We have an international market that is the biggest in the Southeast, one of the biggest in Nigeria. And so our idea is that through all of these facilities, including the international airport that is going on, we should be able to provide jobs for the people, get them engaged, for them to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, for them to have something to eat, to fend for themselves and fend for the family. We are looking at economic development, differentiating between economic growth. Yes, you can have economic growth without economic development. How do you assess economic development when the people have the per capita income has arisen, and when the people have the capacity to fend for themselves, when the people can even go into other, exploit or tap into their talents without looking at white-collar job? And that is basically the essence of the infrastructure that the governor is putting in place in Ebonyi State.
Let me go to Andrew calling in from Makurdi. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew in Makurdi. Did we lose that call? Andrew, now you spoke about the largest shopping mall and a pretty advanced hospital. I didn't know that. Let me just tell you. And why isn't it common knowledge? Why? Because, I mean, especially if you go, trading, we understand that. But how about the area of, social development, science, and you're saying that you... tell me about that hospital again.
Yeah, the College of Medicine, a center of excellence for the treatment of those terminal diseases, those diseases that normally take our
a college of medicine.
Yeah, a college of medicine. That normally take our people...
Attached to any particular university?
Yes, to Ebonyi State University. But
Okay.
we're trying to see what we can do to make it to be self-funding and to ensure that it is managed by way of a private public participation to ensure that there is sustainability in the whole of the processes. We want it to be a tourist center for anything medication in the whole of Nigeria, so that a time of going to India, going to US to have yourself treated will be a thing of the past. We are looking at using that to generate jobs. We are looking at about 10,000 number of jobs that will be generated. And of course, we have other ancillary medical facilities around that will help to raise the capacity of the people working there. We have the School of Nursing and Midwifery, which the governor built the biggest in the Southeast. And the idea is to raise the capacity of the nurses and other medical. Yeah, that's the idea of the governor. that he must do all things that will give him name forever.
Okay.
And I can tell you, do you know, apart from Lagos and Abuja, we have the highest number of flyovers. So you can imagine about 13 number of flyovers. Very beautiful.
Apart from Lagos and Abuja?
Yes,
okay.
just poor Ebonyi State of yesterday. And we have the kind of environment we have in Ebonyi. It's a very beautiful environment that can attract creative industry, entertainment industry. And the kind of road we have, the smoothest road, I think apart from Dangote, is Ebonyi State that is doing concrete pavement. We have over 1,500 state road done in concrete pavement. Ebonyi is like a global village. From any point, you can access any part of Ebonyi within 1 hour. Okay,
Paul in Aba. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, I like our programs there. What I want to say is that, you know, our Southeast here, we are good. You understand me? Everything here is good, but security is the problem.
In Aba? Are you talking about Aba?
There's a lot of crime in our area here.
Which area? Which area? Which area? I understand you, but could you specify your area? There are a lot of crime in our area. Which area, sir?
I am in other state now, in Aba.
Okay, so you're talking about that specific location.
Even what happened in Imo State, the Bonny police station.
Okay.
Now
I get your meaning. Thank you. Thank you for clarification.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what's brought about. Well, you said no. That's not exactly what brought about the present Ebubeagu. But you know, Paul calling him from Abadea, wanting to mention that it's particularly bad. If it wasn't particularly bad, the governors wouldn't have come together to say, enough is enough, we've got to do something.
I agree with you, but I need to emphasize that the issue of security is not the doing of the leaders or the governors or those in government, but it's the doing of all of us. And I must say that the issue of banditry, you cannot say it is only those coming from outside the state, outside the zone. What of our people within the zone? So banditry, it includes those that are natives and that of, non-natives who are criminals within the state.
Do you think it has to do with a lack of jobs?
Yeah, lack of job is one of them, and issue of orientation is one of them. I think that is why governments need to do a lot to provide job opportunities for our youth and women. At this point, I can say that the governor of Ebonyi State has been taking the bull by the horn after the NSAS protest, apart from establishing necessary bodies to look at the issues. Government of Ebonyi State became the first to convene NSAS Youth Summit to look at what can be done. And we're looking at security, we're looking at education, we're looking at human capital development, we're looking at job creation, we're looking at tapping into the talents, of these youths. And they brainstormed for one week. And the governor had to approve the sum of 3 billion naira to see how through their business plan they can be empowered. Okay. And it's only when all of these things are done that we can be sure.
Let's hear from Mazi Okoroafo, who is calling in from Arochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning.
Commissioner, good morning. Commissioner, I see this legal backing where we are talking is the legal backing is long overdue. That the Southeast governors should do what? As a matter of make it. You see, I'm talking in the Southwest. You see how fast they did it. Now, let's come back to Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State produces rice. Now, you see that the cost of that rice is equivalent with the imported rice. So at the beginning, the price was very, very cheap. People were rushing, even the garri. So I don't know what propped up that made the rice to be the short cutthroat prices. And you know very well that very soon we're moving down to farming season. And during farming season in Africa, or Hazara, name them as if you are moving to Arochukwu. You see that all those areas, there are communal clashes. What is the plan now that the pharmacies have not started that you are supposed to do? Because there is still for you, the government, to do what? See what they can do now. Go back, because we do this fire brigade approach. Go back and meet the traditional so that there will be no clashes during farming season, because it's always a yearly affair in our house, in Ebonyi State within the parties.
Okay, Mazi Okoroafo.
I wish the government is successful.
Mazi Okoroafo, thank you very much, sir, for the point. Let's allow the commissioner.
Incidentally, I was commissioner for agriculture for 2 years under the first administration of my boss, and we did a lot to increase our tempo in rice production. We had an advantage that advantage is in rice processing. So we had to really, the government of Governor Mai had to really procure more rice milling plants. Today we have a total of 32 metric ton capacity per hour rice milling plant that can give the rice need of the entire Southeast and South-South, I'm telling you. And we have a parboiling plant that is about 38 metric ton capacity per hour.
Yeah, but what happened?
Government
because
is working.
He was
yes,
complaining
what
that
happened is that
people were rushing
first
it.
of all, everybody is rushing it. Because of the advert we made, of course, in Ebonyi, we banned the consumption, not just the sale or importation. The consumption of foreign rice is about the best rice that you can test. It's much more nutritious than any foreign rice, even any other rice in Nigeria. Yes. And so people have interest.
It's almost unattainable because of the prices.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you the factors that affected the price.
That jacked up the price.
Yeah, of course, the demand and supply factor. Another is the issue of power, which we are trying to see what we can do to see if we can have alternative source to power, that is solar energy. And again, the issue of some of these problems. Natural disaster that affect rice production. Okay. And so it does affect the price, but honestly, comparatively speaking, our rice is still within the normal price compared to other states. And one thing that is very important is that every other state, even especially in the North Central, is taking advantage of our rice to really get their rice need. Now, on the issue of agriculture generally, including rice production, the government is doing everything.
So forgive me for interrupting you. Before you go to agriculture generally, let me not lose Andrew, who has called in for the second time. Good morning, Andrew in Makurdi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, the Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, so please, I have a little thing to add to what they are doing about this issue of Dubazo.
Okay.
Let our people use this issue of embargo wisely so that they will not create another crime. Looking at the way they made this embargo, it seems as if they are bringing this embargo to fight the ESN or IPOP, who are they fighting for freedom of this marginalization that the Commissioner mentioned now. Everybody knows about this marginalization. And if somebody is showing aggressive or anger of what they are doing to him, then people that are supposed to talk, this embargo came late, but let them use it wisely so that the embargo, which is supposed to be youth, we need those youths that are the IESN. So youth knows how to talk to youth. They will use it wise. Embargo will come. ESN and the embargo will merge and people will not know. Because there is youth. Even those people they are bringing to are youth.
Okay, Andrew, I want to thank you. Happy. Thank you very much, Andrew. I got your point, and I'm sure Commissioner Uchenna Orji did as well.
Yes, I did. I must emphasize that the sure way to go in curbing insecurity is to provide social security, which includes also provision of job empowerment of our youths. So while we are supporting our youths to be part of this process of fortifying the security architecture of our various states, we need to emphasize that there's need to empower our youths. Let us not keep them idle. Some of them fight out of ignorance. Some of them even take to us because they don't have anything doing. So what is important is for you to emphasize that government must prioritize the funding of the empowerment programs for the youths. And that's what my governor has done in Ebonyi State.
I think
we must speak with one voice under one leadership in each state, and that is the leadership of each governor.
Okay.
And that is the way to go.
Indeed. And I think people have got this point that you've made because you've made it more than once on this program. But again, asking the question, again, let it be said more than once, I know that official corridors are very impatient when it comes to Eastern Security Network. But people are talking about it. You can't wish them away. How are they going to be handled, incorporated, if at all that is an idea, into what is going on now, seeing as there's some measure of experience? Now, how does this sound to official ears?
When you are saying ESN, it would appear as if they are foreigners. And these are youths, women from our various jurisdictions, our various states. And what is important is that government will integrate all the youths and women first of all, in the security architecture. Of course, what we normally do is that for you to be recruited, you must be recommended by the traditional ruler, by the traditional leaders. Yes,
okay.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Even everything that we are doing, because we need responsible and responsive youth and women, which we have. And all we need to do again is to also give them opportunity to expound in their talents.
Okay.
It's very critical. Once we have social security on ground, that will solve all of this problem. Of course, we'll continue to engage the federal government, the party at the center, to see how this issue of marginalization at the center will reduce, because I must tell you, Southeast needs to be, to be given attention. All the agitations are germane, they are apt, but we must not do it violently. We must look at what happened during the Civil War. We should not allow it to repeat. I will say never again. Never again do we allow war, because war is the greatest enemy to mankind, the greatest sin to humanity. And so whoever by omission or commission, advertently or inadvertently, or by action or inaction, is encouraging war, for us and governments of all the states in the Southeast, we are not part of such persons. And we are bold about that.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Barrister Uchenna Orji. I don't think anybody wants war. Don't think anybody is advocating war. And again, I hear you. We'll leave it there. And I want to thank you very much for making time for us to come in this morning and chat with us. One, about Ebubiago, and also about developments in your beloved Ebonyi State. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, our pleasure. So, stay with us. We'll take a break and then we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. In fact, I've got a confession to make. I think the producers say I was looking at a different program list when I was talking about the FIB, although that has been reported to the attitude of the federal government when it comes to whether or not there was a printing by the mint of somewhere in the region of $60 billion in order to, make up some shortfall. Anyhow, just to, I'm sorry. But we do have Mr. Ola Daniels here, and he's a lawyer, Barrister Ola Daniels. We seem to have them this morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Now, the ongoing strike in the judiciary, Jusson. First of all, they are saying that this thing is going to continue for as long as it takes, that they're going to make sure until everybody is joined in the action, they're not going to relent. First of all, since you're of that community, where do you stand on this whole matter?
Well, I stand for justice, I stand for good welfare of the judiciary, and I stand for the autonomy of the judiciary, and which is clearly provided for under section 121, subsection 3 of Nigerian 99 Constitution as amended. So this is not something that came from nowhere. The provision of the Constitution is clear about the autonomy for the judiciary. So I see no reason why governors are finding it difficult to carry out simple. You see, if we have laws that is governing the country, if we have laws that all of us pick from, that is the bedrock, that is the manual that we follow in this country, and then we choose the one we want to use, then we jettison the one that we think does not favor us without considering other stakeholders involved. I think there's a problem with that.
Well, first of all, is every state really, quote unquote, guilty of this? Are there not some states that don't have a problem with it and are actually applying it the way it should be applied?
Aside federal high court, I'm yet to see a state high court, the state judiciary, any state out of the 36 states judiciary that have observed strictly to section 121 subsection 3 of the 99 Constitution as amended. And that even after Mr. President, gave an executive order. That was last year, May 2020, gave an executive order which he picked its power from section 5 of the same 99 Constitution as amended. Having done that, which even gave power, because that order, part of the sections of the order was a power given to the Accountant General to take money from source. Any state that have refused, any state that is not ready to allow the money flow in directly to the judiciary, the Accountant General ordinarily supposed to take the money from source straight to the to the NJC, to the judiciary. But that has not happened in any way. So even with the executive order, nothing has happened. So why is our governor, why are they afraid of wanting, because we talked about 3 arms of government, which are supposed to be independent of each other.
Yes.
So why are they afraid of judiciary being an independent arms of government? Why did they still want to?
That is the question, because even the the president of JUSUM has said that no, the federal authorities, no problem there. And you had said that apart from federal high courts,
yes,
you are yet to see of any other. But the problem is the states have this issue. I mean, one wonders what the issue really is. Surely it can't be controlled.
It can. It can. See, one of the problems I see that we have in this country is the ability of people in powers, people in position to do what the law requires of them. Because most of them behave as if they are above the law. And even there are 2 federal high court judgments on this. No judgment has been obeyed still. Because if, I would say this because the constitution is also even faulty. Why? Because if a judgment is given, you still expect the Attorney General to still give an execution of such judgment, then there's trouble.
Okay. Let me hear from Prince Oriade Martins in Kaduna. Good morning, Prince.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes, I don't know whether the people in condition of this your program. I don't know whether the people in power they are hearing the program. If they are hearing all what we have been complaining all these days, we didn't see change. How do we do?
Yeah.
Number 2, our governor in Kaduna State, Excellency Erufai, is trying his best. But only him cannot conquer the security in this country. My advice to the federal government, let us answer the youth. Let's give the youth jobs. Most of these kidnappers, they are youth. Look at Kaduna that I am here. We have many textiles that is closed. Let government join hands.
Prince, you have adjusted the subject, You have adjusted our subject matter. We're talking about Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria. Their strike. That's where we were. The ongoing strike. But okay.
Hello?
It seems to me that as a proud citizen of Kaduna State, thank you very much. You phoned in to let us know that your governor is trying his best and spoke about the youths. That's, as I said, excellent point to make. It's just that you managed to change our subject because we're looking at the whole matter of financial autonomy. That is the subject matter. I don't really think what the Prince was saying fits exactly into that. So you were saying that you don't know why they do it. You say it could be control, as a matter of fact. This whole business of paying the piper, dictating the tune, that kind of a thing, right?
Stop, yes. Yes, because this, you see, what JUSUM is fighting for is not just about financial autonomy. It's also for the people. For instance, when there is a judgment against a particular state government, now, who carries out the judgment? Why? Because probably the court had made its judgment, and don't forget, execution has to still come from the state, and probably the AG, the Attorney General of the state, will have to give such power to go on that, and they are the one paying the judges. So they are paying the judges. It means that an ordinary citizen cannot sleep to say, I will get justice if I am coming against the state.
Yes, okay.
Because it's the same state that is in charge. It's the same state that will pay the judiciary, that will pay whoever that want to make that judgment. Then he can call to say, you better be careful. Know what you want to do.
Okay.
If not, You'll be paid.
But the whole matter about all those justices are above that, and you can't really talk to them once they've been appointed, once they're sitting. That's it. They're done. Their word becomes law. It doesn't work quite like that locally, right?
Very well.
Okay. Let me see. I think Mr. Lawale called in from Ikorodu. Good morning, Mr. Lawale.
Yeah, good morning, Professor Yori Polani.
It's just Yori, but thank you for calling in.
Okay. Yeah, I think Nigerians should settle down and think whether we want to hand over the country or governance to the governors. I don't know why there are two federal high court judgments in addition to the executive order by the federal government, by the president, being disobeyed by the governor. If the governors cannot respect the law of the land, who they expect to respect the law of the land? I'm strongly recommending to do so. They should continue their strike until we are able to break the backbone of the governors. And let me tell you, Mr. Yori, it is not only the judiciary that the governors are dealing with. In every state, even the money, the allocation for the local government is being administered by the commissioner for local government in each state. They do not allow the local government chairmen to have access to their funds. They will say they are doing projects on their behalf. I think the Nigerians must rise up against this tyrant of the governors. God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in from Ikorodu, Mr. Lawale. I imagine you agree with that. Are you willing to stick your neck out, as much as to agree with the part where he says, Jusun should just stick to their guns. Don't relent. Stick with it. We have to break the cycle.
Yes, in as much as I want to support the strike, in as much as I want to support the struggles, what they are calling or asking for, then we also need to look at the ordinary people. There are people in prisons today that probably is just bail application that they need to bring them out, settle in the house, but they are in prison. There are some people every day. These police will still arrest people and keep them somewhere, and you see a lot of abnormality, a lot of injustice has been done as we speak, because number of people are supposed to be out of the prison, but they are not. If I look at recently, there's a statement from the IG that says, okay, you police, please don't just arrest people anyhow, because we can't afford them to go to the prison. The prison is congested. And now we have the judiciary going on strike, meaning that the court is not in operation. They can't even go to court to get access to their freedom. So I need them to also consider this. In as much as I support, what I will ask for is to think out of box, to see if there is any avenue, any other way we can achieve this as against strike.
Okay, Ada in Jos. Good morning. You're the last caller.
Ada, good morning. Ada from Jos.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Ada from Jos. Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Yori.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
What I want to say is this: I can hear I can understand that is the aspect your guest is coming from. But let me tell you something. There's no other language that they can understand in this country except strike. So this should continue. If they accept, the government will not give them that financial autonomy. Your guys talking about the backlog and all that, people about court cases. Let it be like that. If it continues, then the masses will join in. We must get it right in this country. There's always a flagrant abuse of the rule of law. Yeah. And starting from the top to the bottom, that's the issue. What is happening in this country? Why are they committing this constitutional sacrilege? That's what I call it. I don't know what's the essence of the constitution. Then your guest, I want to find out from your guest, who is supposed to enforce those court orders? Who is supposed to even enforce it in the first instance?
Okay, Ada, thank you very much, Ada. Thank you very much for calling.
Very pertinent question. Very, very pertinent question there. Who is supposed to enforce? And that is why this autonomy is not just limited to financial autonomy. We need independence of the judiciary, because you know why? When there is a judgment and you go back to court that let's say even there's an enrollment order that says go and carry out this judgment, you still go back to the executives, because they are the one that will still give you police to come and execute. So that is the issue.
Because I was going to say, well, what went to my mind when I asked the question was that, of course, the police is the enforcement arm of government.
Thank you.
You know, they enforce. They make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. But you're saying,
yes,
it is the executive that will grant
and you know
access.
why it's like that? It's because the police does not even do its constitutional duty. You know why? The police still rely on a voice, still rely on instructions, still rely on directive from the executive. Meanwhile, the police sworn to a oath to the Constitution.
You know what? I can see that you're passionate on this subject.
am.
Because it's about equity.
I'm a patriot.
A patriot, and it's all about equity and justice.
Very well.
But we're going to have to leave it here. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. And we really appreciate all those who called in on the program too and made the program what it is. Thank you very much. Also, our regards to our thanks for Barrister Orji, who came on before, the commissioner for information and orientation in Ebonyi State. So that's our program today. We can't talk about it. Well, there's the COVID-19 thing, there's the vaccine thing, and now they're talking about, maybe we'll talk about that some other day. They're talking about mixing up the vaccines. Trials in the UK have started. Maybe you take the first dose of one and they're trying to investigate taking the second dose of another, but that's a story for another day. This is not when I should be bringing that up. But what I can bring up in relation to this is maintain social distancing, mask up, please, wash your hands frequently, and don't be in crowds unnecessarily. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.